Hi everyone, my name is Kate. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. Today, I wanted to take a moment to share with you some of the pages that I colored before I started my YouTube channel. I got this idea from my friend Polly over on Polly Puts the Color On. I'll make sure to link her down in the description box below, so do make sure that you go and check her out. So I started coloring in November last year, but I didn't start my YouTube channel until May of this year. So there's about 6 months worth of coloring that I have never shown you. If you follow me over on Instagram, you will probably have seen at least the majority of the pages there. But I did want to take a moment to make a video just to show you all those pages that I colored in those 6 months. I do think that I will split this video up into 2 parts. So I will do one part with the pages I colored in November, December and January. And then I will do another part for the pages I colored in February, March and April. Because I think otherwise it will be, a very, very long video. And it's nice to split it up into 2 different sections. So the very first page that I colored when I started coloring back in November last year was this one of this big unicorn. I did watch quite a lot of videos on YouTube and things while I waited for my coloring books to finally arrive. It felt like it took forever. So by the time that I got them, I was so excited to get started. I tried to do a gradient from this yellow to this pink, and also between these pinks and purples in the mane and tail of this unicorn. I'm really, really pleased with how it turned out, considering the fact that it was my first coloring page. You can see, that there's some shading and everything going on. So again, I was so proud of this page when I finished it, and I still am. I think, it's definitely one of my favorite pages. Probably a little bit because of, the nostalgia, knowing that it was my first page. But again, I'm very, very proud of how it turned out. For the rest of the pages, I won't go through them in chronological order because it would be skipping between the books quite a lot. So I will show you all the pages that I completed in this book in the months of November, December and January 1st. So the next page I wanted to show you was another early coloring. I thought, the gradient from the pink to yellow worked so well, so I wanted to try it again here. I'd also just gotten my oil pastels, so I know that I used them to do this background as well. Then I went on to do this page, again using the oil pastels in the background and trying to do, a little bit of a gradient again on these clouds. And I also used white, probably my white jelly roll. I think it was the only white gel pen that I had at the time, to cover up the white lines in the clouds as well. And the last page I colored in this book for those months was this one. For this one, I went for quite a different style for the unicorns. They're all the same color, but again, I put in some shading, and I tried to do a rainbow tail and mane to match this rainbow that they are on up here. I also tried to make it look, as though this bit up here, kind of behind the clouds, behind the rainbow, those bits are all really bright, whereas these bits down here with the London buildings, they're a bit more grey and dull, and I think it kind of matches, the vibe of London quite well. Grey, rainy, the works. If you ever lived in London, you will know exactly what I'm talking about. But I did also try to make sure that these buildings had, some different colours, but just more muted than the ones up here, to create that kind of contrast. And that was the last page that I colored in this book. Again, the rest of these books won't be in an exact chronological order, but I thought I will go through my Lulu Mayo books first, because I know that I bought all 3 of them at the same time, and I was very excited to color in them because I really loved her style. So I also had A Million Mermaids, where I just colored this one page And I think I did this one in December. Oh yeah, I wrote the date down here. It was in December, and this one was also a buddy color. I experimented with this glow from these lamps, and again, I was so proud with how this one turned out. That was the only page I colored from A Million Mermaids. And from A Million Sea Creatures, I also colored a couple of pages. I colored this one with the mermaid giving this little otter a hug. And this one with the two unicorns carrying this heart. And then I also colored this one with this little mug. This one I colored in January when it was still, very cold, and I wanted something bright and fun. So I tried to use my oil pastels to create like a rainbow background and everything. And then I used my neon pencils to create these very bright lollies. I don't think they're showing up quite as bright on camera, but they're really bright and colorful and neon-y in person. Another one of the books that I got really early on was Moon Valley from Maria Trolle. I colored, I think, 3 pages in here in the 3 first months of coloring. So it was this one. And then I did this one, which was a buddy color. And this one was the very first page that I colored in this book. Again, I was experimenting, doing, like a gradient in the sky and everything. And I'm quite proud of how I managed, considering the fact that this was still in November, so still the very first month that I was coloring. I also knew that I wanted to try out alcohol marker coloring, so I got this Matchstick Mouse book where I colored this page as well as this page really early on. And I will also do a video in November for my coloring anniversary, talking about the favorite pages and everything that I've colored in my first year, as well as probably my least favorite pages and how I would color them differently now that I know a little bit more. So if you want to hear more about, my favorite pages and my least favorite pages, do make sure you stay tuned for that. Next up is Secrets of the Sea by Mili Marotta, and I managed to find this pocket coloring version, which I thought, would be really nice. I colored quite a few pages in this one as well. The starfish is, again, probably one of the pages I like the most of these first pages. I did this double page spread with the sea snakes. This one was my very first ever double page spread. So although I'm not super pleased with how it turned out, it felt really good to, have done a double page spread and have gotten that out of the way. And then, Then there was also this one with the narwhals, where I tried to experiment with some, more unrealistic colors. So that one was a fun one as well. I also had Romantic Country, the first tale. It was another one of the very first books that I bought. And the first page I colored in this one was this page with the forest path. I thought, this one will be really easy. It's just a lot of trees and a lot of grass. But I got so bored of this page by the end. I thought, I never want to color another tree again. But I did it, and I was very proud of myself. I especially like how, the path turned out. I did it a bit darker around the edges with, just a little bit of texture. And I also used my eraser to erase out these clouds from the sky. So yeah, although it was very boring, I was very happy with how it turned out. And I was very proud of myself when I managed to finish it. And I also did this Christmas tree page. This was another page that I did as a buddy color. So I started posting my pictures on Instagram almost straight away. I knew I wanted to get, into the coloring community and get some buddy colors and everything started. So I had a lot of fun with my buddies coloring these early pages. Another early buddy color was from Small Victories. Yes, I completed this one in November, so I think this might have been my first buddy color ever, just because, it was so early on. I did use watercolor to create this background. but it did bleed through to the next page. So at first that made me feel, really discouraged and really disheartened. But now I know that I can fix that easily. So, I don't see it as big of a deal anymore now. And I also colored this one in November as well with the flowers. I tried to, create some gradients on some of these leaves and everything. So again, quite proud of how that one turned out. I also got Minorize Dirt Africa by Rita Berman. Again, I think I got it in that November, so the first month that I was coloring, although it could possibly have also been in December. I colored, oh no, it was definitely November because this one is dated the 16th of November. So I colored this page here, and I used some, I think, oil pastels to create this like soft gradient outline over here. But then when I went to set it, I didn't realize that if you use your setting spray after you've used your coloring pencils, some of the coloring pencils might bleed through. So I did get a little bit of bleed through from some of the pink and red coloring pencils. You can't really see it that well, and again, I know that I can fix that now, so it's not really a problem. But at the time I felt like I had made a big mistake and I had no idea how I would go about coloring the other page. But I was really pleased again with how this turned out. I remember I particularly liked this green butterfly and how the gradient from this darker green to this lighter green here came out. And then I did this page here, which was another body color in January. I kept experimenting with these like clouds in different colors, just like from the Lulu Mayo book that we saw earlier. And I was really enjoying doing that at the time. I was also playing with some of my glitter or metallic markers here. And I think when I did this page, I had also just gotten my Inktense pencils because I'm pretty sure I used Inktense here on the ground and also on some of these rocks as well. And this gradient on this mask here as well. I remember I was so proud when I had done that and I had managed, to get quite a smooth and not exactly seamless, but at least quite a smooth transition here. I was very, very proud of it. Wildflower Folk by Christine Caron was another one of the very first books that I bought, but it did take me a little while to get started in it. I remember I was quite intimidated by the grayscale, and I picked this page out to be my first page. I colored it in the beginning of December, so I think I had this book for about a month before I even, had a go at coloring in it. I quickly realized that coloring grayscale wasn't, as intimidating as I had thought, and I was so proud of how this page turned out. I really enjoyed, how I managed to go from these really deep dark colors to the more light highlight colors in these areas in particular, but I was still quite intimidated by the skin and the hair and everything like that. So it did take me a little while before I tried my next grayscale page in January, which was this one. And here I'm sure I must have watched some tutorials on how to color hair because I added in a lot more of a range of colors here in the hair, going from the really dark colors to the lighter highlighty colors. I definitely still hadn't gotten, the skin quite right. And I remember when I colored her face, I think I must have used the wrong alcohol marker, either because I read my chart wrong or I just picked up the wrong color by accident, because her skin turned out so pink, like so pink. But I did manage to make it look a little bit less pink in the final image. I used my coloring pencils over it to try to tone the pinkness down a little bit. And overall, again, I was really pleased with how she came out. I did pick up a few books in January when we were on holiday, and one of those books was Tales from Atlantis. It was also the only book that I touched in the first 3 months of coloring, and I only did this one page here. I know I also ordered some shimmery watercolors online, so I think I used Inktense for the background and then I put my shimmery watercolors on top so you can see, how shimmery it was. I had a lot of fun coloring this page as well, and it's another one of the pages that I was really proud of how it turned out. It is also the last page that I have to show you today, because this was the last one of the books that I colored in the months November and December 2024 and January 2025. As I said, I will be making a part 2 to this video to show you the pages that I colored in February, March and April as well. I would be so interested in hearing which one of these first few pages I colored was your favorite down in the comments below. And don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. If you would like to see part 2 of the pages I colored before my YouTube channel or any other videos from me, do make sure you hit that subscribe button. I would love to have you stick around. Thank you so much for watching this video today. I hope to see you again in my next video. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye!